The primary tension in the 2026 technology industry takes place deep inside the microscopic physical architecture of the hardware itself. For decades, computing followed a predictable hierarchy. Processors, the central brains manufactured by companies like Intel, were the high-margin stars, while the memory chips used for storage were treated as cheap interchangeable commodities. This chart shows how that hierarchy collapsed in May 2026. The three major memory manufacturers, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, all crossed the $1 trillion valuation mark. The growth was staggering. Samsung grew 149%, Micron jumped 214%, and SK Hynix surged 250%. This explosion was driven by high-bandwidth memory, or HBM. These specialized chips are designed for extreme data throughput. Without vast arrays of them, modern large language models physically cannot process the billions of parameters required to function. High demand for HBM caused prices to double in early 2026, forcing big tech to spend trillions on infrastructure just to maintain their competitive standing. This left the industry with a massive, front-loaded hardware bill that must be justified to investors. Having committed trillions to memory infrastructure, tech giants now face a strict mandate to recoup those costs through immediate, widespread AI deployment. This financial pressure has led to forced integration across consumer software. In May, Meta began implementing AI document analysis directly into WhatsApp, allowing the system to read and summarize files within a historically private messaging interface. Google moved even faster at its 2026 I/O conference, announcing AI overviews. This change pushes machine-generated summaries to the top of search results, effectively displacing the traditional list of web sources. To validate these trillion-dollar hardware investments, the industry aggressively expanded its AI footprint, crowding out human users who never requested these features. The rollout of AI overviews triggered a widespread consumer revolt, marking a significant moment of public friction in the current AI cycle. Users focused their criticism on the lack of an opt-out option. By forcing AI results into the search experience, Google effectively removed a user's ability to choose their own sources or verify the machine's accuracy. This loss of control drove a massive migration to DuckDuckGo, a search engine that capitalized on the backlash by promising an AI-free experience. This line graph tracking U.S. app installs shows the shift. On May 25th, DuckDuckGo saw a 30.5% surge as users sought alternatives. A secondary line tracking iOS users shows an even steeper spike, reaching a peak of nearly 70% growth. This suggests that even traditionally conservative user bases were willing to switch platforms to regain their agency. This migration indicates that users are not necessarily rejecting the utility of AI, but the removal of their own choice. In an environment of forced integration, the presence of a manual override has become a significant competitive advantage. The Vatican has positioned itself as a primary moral check on this rapid, forced adoption of artificial intelligence. In May 2026, Pope Leo XIV released an official encyclical titled Magnifica Humanitas. The 120-page document warns that AI threatens human dignity and calls for the technology to be disarmed by global regulators. However, shortly after the release, researchers noticed stylistic anomalies within the text. Some sections lacked a personal tone, relying instead on the repetitive structures and smooth, hollow phrasing common in machine-generated content. Analysis using AI detection tools highlighted a major contradiction. While the introduction appears human-written, several paragraphs in Chapter 4 exhibit a 70 to 100% probability of being AI-generated. This revelation suggests a difficult reality. The trillion-dollar AI pipeline is so efficient that even the institutions warning most loudly about its dangers are beginning to rely on it for their own internal drafting. By late 2026, a clear contradiction has emerged. Society is publicly resisting the forced integration of AI, while privately utilizing its speed to keep pace with modern demands. The underlying trillion-dollar hardware economy has essentially guaranteed that this technology is a permanent fixture. There is no longer a path toward removing it from the global infrastructure. The focus is now shifting toward transparency and control. The goal for users is no longer to stalk the algorithms, but to secure the right to know when they are being used and the ability to turn them off. As big tech continues to integrate AI to justify its hardware costs, retaining our human agency remains the only way to navigate this transition. Survival in this environment requires holding on to the manual override.